Ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession is about to enter the hall. Will you please stand?
Distinguished guests, university colleagues, industry and community partners, families and friends, and most importantly, those of you who are graduating today. In particular, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Her Excellency, the Honourable Barbara Baker, AC, Governor of Tasmania, and Emeritus Professor Don Chalmers, AO. As a reflection of this institution's recognition of the deep history and culture of this land, the University of Tasmania wishes to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'm delighted to be with you to participate in this ceremony. For you, the graduates and diplomats, graduation is a fitting capstone to the commitment you have made in gaining a higher education qualification. You can feel justly proud. I'm also delighted to be here with you, as over the last year and a half, having important celebrations such as graduations has not been easy, or at times even possible. Indeed, for many, it still isn't. So it's very moving that we're all here today celebrating your achievement. Likewise, it will not have been easy for you to adapt, sometimes in very uncertain circumstances, to how you have undertaken your studies in these final stages of your degree, which will have been very different to what was expected. That you are here today celebrating your successful completion of studies is a testament to your commitment, flexibility and tenacity. And just as how your studies changed, so too has the world you are graduating into. That you have had this experience of learning your particular disciplinary skills and knowledge in the midst of this change means that you are eminently well equipped to contribute to helping our communities navigate through any ongoing change in the best possible way. It's something we have demonstrated here in Tasmania that we are particularly good at. And today you graduate from a university deeply committed to Tasmania, its places and its people. Wherever you find yourself after graduation, I encourage you to bring the same kind of thinking that guides us as a university. Thinking that is grounded in care and respect for the places and people we are amongst. The challenges we now face and those of the future are the kinds of challenges where we need to take a collective approach. We all have an important role to play, and we need you to offer your knowledge and skills to the communities you are a part of. In doing that, each of you can be exemplars for what higher education can unlock for people and the positive change it can enable, not only for you, but for those around you. It is to you to whom we now look to lead, to imagine, and to shape our future. Remember your time at the university with fondness and cherish the connections that you have made and the relationships you have developed. Hold on to the moments that are meaningful for you. I hope that you will never lose the thirst for knowledge that is the true outcome of higher education. I encourage you to continue applying the skills of analysis and inquiry that you have learned in the course of your studies to seek balance and clarity in the issues and problems you will face. The university's motto is Igneus Patuit Campus, which translates to "the field lies open to talent." It captures our spirit, our belief in the talents of every person and their ability to make a contribution to their communities. Today is your day, a day for celebration of your achievements and a parting reflection with your fellow graduates of your time at the University of Tasmania. You should all feel justly proud of what you have achieved and see that pride reflected in all of us here with you today. Let me offer a special congratulations to you all. You, our graduates, now have the talents, skills and expertise. I hope that you will all embrace the next stage of your life journey, committed to creating a better future. It's now my pleasure to invite Professor Nicholas Farrell to present the University Address.
Welcome, Your Excellency and Professor Chalmers, graduates, families, friends, distinguished guests, university colleagues. I would also like to start by acknowledging that we are in Lutruwita, on the lands of the Palawa peoples, who are part of the oldest continuing culture in the world. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and celebrate their ongoing cultures and connections to Tasmania's magnificent land, seas and waterways. As an academic community, we know that all of you, our graduands, have come through a very difficult year and have shown that you can adapt to the challenges that life throws up, often with absolutely no warning. So, well done. The university is deeply proud of you, all of you, and I hope you're also proud of what you have achieved. With lockdowns, as we're all aware, facing 2/3 of Australia right now, and with so much of the world in great distress, we're fortunate to be together today in person. This means, however, that there are many loved ones missing from the seats in this room. And I think we all appreciate that we must continue to work together to fight this pandemic here in Australia and around the world. Right now, the world is faced with challenges that require all of our energy, understanding and passion. Yes, the global pandemic, but also a changing and unpredictable geopolitical outlook, social unrest, millions upon millions in poverty, seemingly entrenched disadvantage and discrimination, and a dangerously warming climate. Yet, as the response to the pandemic shows, people are capable of extraordinary things, and education is a crucial element for all of our efforts to create a better world. Your education with us has equipped you to argue for that better world, to challenge accepted thinking, to interrogate tired ideas, to imagine new futures, and to bring others along with you. I know that today's valedictory speaker, to be conferred with his doctorate in the minutes to come, Jacob Pren, has committed himself to making a difference and imagining those new futures by serving Indigenous communities here in Tasmania and elsewhere in Australia. His PhD thesis on Indigenous masculinity sets out a new agenda for community strength and individual resilience. As a representative of this wonderfully talented graduating class, Jacob, you have done your family, your community, and the university very proud. I work within the College of Arts, Law and Education, so I know that those of you graduating today from this college are going to be making a big difference through your teaching, your efforts in the creative arts, your engagement with the law, your work as social workers, police officers, policy advisors, journalists, communications professionals, public servants, diplomats, advocates, in business, in academia. The list goes on. And know that whatever part of the university you're graduating from, you can play a key role in Tasmania's future, in Australia's future, and in the world's future. For example, today we have a group of police officers graduating from our great university. Through the partnership between the University of Tasmania and Tasmania Police, our police officers are the best trained in the country, and our entire community benefits from the learning of the police officers that are graduating here today. Such partnership is integral, I think we all agree, to the peaceful, inclusive, and much admired quality of Tasmanian life. Our teaching of Tasmania Police is but one example of how from this small but unique island we can do things that make a big difference locally, nationally, and globally. So I urge you all to see the challenging experiences of the past 18 months as an advantage, as a foundation from which we will all build. The strength, resilience, and sense of community you have displayed will set you up as valuable contributors in an ever-changing world. Your compassion and empathy will make you great leaders. And if there is anything we have learned in the past year, it is, ladies and gentlemen, how to unmute ourselves. So I also urge you to use your voices to speak up on the issues that matter in our society. Use your education abundantly to make a difference. Stand up for the changes that you believe in. Don't be silenced. To all the parents, friends, supporters, and loved ones who've joined us here today, we know that you've made sacrifices to help our graduands in their successes. Thank you. This would not be possible without all of you. This day is most definitely your day too, a day to appreciate the achievements of our outstanding students. So finally, to the graduands, we hope you all feel proud of what you have achieved. Know that you have been our teachers too, and that while we say goodbye for now, it is with great pride and optimism for the futures that you will all create. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas, for a very perceptive and insightful address. Shortly I'll be conferring degrees and awarding diplomas, but before we do that, we're to hear the Allegro Maestoso from Water Music by George Frederick Handel, played by the Conservatorium Brass Quintet. Before I ask you to join me in once again thanking the quintet, I've been reflecting, and they'll be sick of hearing this because we had 4 ceremonies yesterday, but I've just been reflecting on how fortunate we all are to be here in this wonderful auditorium. And it's not something that, as you're all aware, would be happening pretty much anywhere else in Australia. So I think we should really appreciate that and join in thanking the brass quintet. Thank you. I now call upon the Deputy Chair of the Academic Senate, Associate Professor Kristen Harmon, to present candidates for degrees and diplomas.
I call upon candidates to stand. Deputy Chancellor, I commend to you the candidates whose names are listed in the conferral list before you for admission to the degrees and for the award of the diplomas shown. They have completed all requirements for their awards to the satisfaction of the Academic Senate.
By virtue of the authority vested in my office, I admit you and the candidates in absentia, as listed in the conferral list before me, to the degrees and award the diplomas for which you and they have qualified.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in congratulating the new graduates and diplomates. Graduates and diplomates, please be seated. Deputy Chancellor, the graduates and diplomates will now be presented to you.
I now call upon Professor Michael Stuckey, representing the Executive Dean of the College of Arts, Law and Education, to present graduates and diplomates in that college.
Deputy Chancellor, for the Associate Degree in Arts, I present to you Hannah Rose Morell. Mia Annalee Marie Wilton. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Laws, I present to you Demi Lee Freeman. Claire Frances Vickers. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Laws and the award of the Graduate Diploma of Legal Practice, I present Caleb Christopher Barrett. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Economics and Bachelor of Laws, I present to you Himanshu Ashutosh Hardikar. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Education, Early Childhood, I present to you Sui Jia Hu. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Education, Primary, I present to you Phoebe Rose Body. Nicola Georgina Claire Wood. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Justice Studies, I present to you Nipun Pudel. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Laws, I present to you Philippa Jane Atkinson. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Laws and the award of the Graduate Diploma of Legal Practice, I present to you Kieran Patrick Byfield. Lily Grace Rosenberg. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Legal Studies, I present to you Myra Mackey. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Social Science, I present to you Seema Yusuf Osman. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Social Science, Police Studies, I present to you Alicia Ann Easom. David Mackenzie. Andrea Perry. Philip Campbell Rule. Christy Irene Sutter. Rebecca Louise Woodhouse. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Laws with honours in law, I present to you Nina Hamasaki. Adam Huxley Irwin. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Laws with honours in law and the award of the Graduate Diploma of Legal Practice, I present to you Kate Victoria Barwick. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Education with Professional Honours, Leadership and the award of the Graduate Certificate in Education Leadership, I present to you Lisa Christine Hurd. Bronwyn Elizabeth Moran. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Bachelor of Justice Studies Honours, I present to you Lauren Patricia Hay. Deputy Chancellor, for the award of the Graduate Certificate in Education, Inclusive Education, I present to you Angela Elizabeth Desire. Tiffany Renee Palmer. Sherelle Louise Preston. Stephanie Jane Rodman. Rachel Jacqueline Stein. Danica Ann Street. Sarah Webb. Deputy Chancellor, for the award of the Graduate Certificate in Education Leadership, I present to you Karen Marie Duncan. Deanne Scott. Deputy Chancellor, for the award of the Graduate Certificate in Tourism, Environmental and Cultural Heritage, I present to you Emily Barwin. Emma Bruce. Anthony John Cowles. Jose Demetrio dos Santos Jorge. Alison Jean Hugo. Wen Juan Lee. Emma Mackay McLeod. Kirk Neil Pinner. Sangeetha Taylor. Zachary John Williams. Deputy Chancellor, for the award of the Graduate Certificate in University Learning and Teaching, I present to you Julie Ann Preston. Deputy Chancellor, for the award of the Graduate Diploma of Tourism, Environmental and Cultural Heritage, I present to you Ka Ho Wu. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Master of Education, I present to you Cynthia Ann Howard. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Master of Journalism, Media and Communications, I present to you Sarah Beatrix Davison. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Master of Teaching, I present to you Maggie Estelle Bowman. Eliza Molly Dobson. Carly Giozio. William Joseph Heading. Peter Louise Owen. David Michael Sanderson. Amrita Saka. Deputy Chancellor, for the degree of Master of Tourism, Environmental and Cultural Heritage, I present to you Kirsty Emily Flint. Mu Zhang. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the College of Arts, Law and Education.
I now call upon Professor Elizabeth Lean, representing the Dean of Graduate Research, to present those graduates who qualified for a research higher degree in graduate research.
Deputy Chancellor, along with teaching, research is one of the major activities of the University of Tasmania. The university is ranked among the top research-intensive universities within Australia, and the strength and diversity of our research is reflected in our consistent world-class performance across a breadth of disciplines. Our higher degree graduate research students make a significant contribution to our research activities through the generation of new knowledge, through analysis, innovation and insight, using state-of-the-art research facilities and a truly multidisciplinary approach. Through the application of that knowledge, our research students contribute to the solution of real-world problems and to the improvement of our communities and citizens' well-being. Deputy Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to present the new Research Higher Degree graduates to you. Deputy Chancellor, you have admitted Coco Cullen Knox to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Cullen Knox's thesis investigates how environmental risks are publicly constructed and then debated, locally and transnationally, through processes of media and communications in relation to seafood production and trade. The research gave active consideration to media roles, politics and power. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Coco Cullen Knox. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Jack Michael Ellis. Dr. Ellis investigated the status of music collections and collecting practices in the era of streaming music consumption. He identified how music streaming services have been adopted and rejected within existing configurations of technologies and practices. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Jack Ellis. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you David John Edward Hicks. Dr. Hicks employed structural equation modelling to explore whether classrooms that incorporated culture improved educational outcomes for Indigenous Australian children. He identified significant relationships between the presence of Indigenous peoples, the incorporation of culture, student engagement, and educational outcomes. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. David Hicks. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Lachlan Christopher Johnson. Dr. Johnson's thesis investigates how organisational attributes of industrial networks shape regional economic development outcomes. This research demonstrates the impact of network configuration and institutions on regional policy outcomes, innovation, governance, social or cultural change, and economic development. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Lachlan Johnson. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Olubenga Ajani Olatunji. The wave of vaccine nationalism post-COVID-19 has reinforced the neglected state of access to medicines in developing countries. Dr. Olatunji's thesis demonstrates that a well-conceived regional approach to pharmaceutical implementation of global intellectual property rules may solve these problems. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Olubenga Olatunji. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Olumaiwa Olukaridi Adesanya. Dr. Adesanya examined the patentability of 3D bioprinted tissues and organs. She found that these are patentable and patents have been granted across Australia, Europe and the United States of America. She proposes ways to ameliorate the effects of patent grants. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Olumaiwa Adesanya. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Jacob Prain. Dr. Prain's thesis is an exploration of Aboriginal masculinity in Australia. Drawing on qualitative and quantitative data, Indigenous masculinity scholarship and a strengths-based approach, this thesis developed a narrative of Aboriginal men and posits two theories of Aboriginal masculinity. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Jacob Prain. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Mohammed Zain Al-Abidin. Zain's thesis evaluates the extent to which the law allows pension funds to consider climate change risks holistically, as expected by the Paris Agreement goals. This thesis finds that the current law is inadequate and proposes pathways for reform. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Mohammed Zain Al Abidin. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from Graduate Research.
It's now my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Jacob Pren, who graduated today with a Doctor of Philosophy. Jacob will now give the valedictory address on behalf of the cohort of students graduating today.
Thank you. I never make these things tall enough for me. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, members of the university, graduates, family and friends, thank you for joining us at today's graduation ceremony. Firstly, I want to congratulate all my fellow graduates on your amazing achievements. Completing your university degree is something you should all hold your head high about. We all have many similarities in our journey as students, doing exams, essay anxiety, and learning to navigate the many university systems such as Milo. However, we also have unique parts in our journeys as students, and today I want to share some of my story with you. So my name's now Dr. Jacob Pren, and I'm a proud Warramai man. My Aboriginal family are from the Port Stephens area, north of Newcastle in New South Wales, and I'm very much a part of the Aboriginal community here in Tasmania. I'm currently employed as an Indigenous Fellow, a lecturer, and the Masters of Social Work course coordinator in the School of Social Sciences. So statistically, there's no way I should be here in front of you today. I'm from an Aboriginal family, and apparently we aren't successful. I grew up in Housing Commission houses. I moved every 6 months. I'd been to about 10 different primary schools before I finished primary school, and I'd missed that much school that I could barely read or write. Growing up, I spent a lot of time not being able to live with my parents or having a strained connection with them because mental health was a really serious issue in my family. This has impacted me in ways I never understood until I was an adult and continues to impact me in ways today, positively and negatively. However, I wouldn't change this. See, without those lived experiences, I would not have grown into the person standing here before you today. I might have grown even taller than 6'6". In 2020, over a decade ago, my journey at the University of Tasmania began. I still remember how excited I was when I found out that my application to become a student was successful. See, people from my high school generally finished school at year 10. Less than half of the 120 in my cohort went to college, and I reckon about 10 or 20 have even been to university. In 2013, while working full-time as an Aboriginal health worker, I completed a Bachelor of Social Science. And on that note, working full-time and studying full-time is not something that I would recommend. However, and then in 2015, I completed a Masters of Social Work with the intent of continuing to work in health and wellbeing, but to take a break from Aboriginal health, which I'd worked in since 2010. However, as soon as I graduated, I went straight back into Aboriginal health and began running Tasmania's only Aboriginal men's group. It's funny how life plays out, because if I didn't go back into Aboriginal health, I likely would not have done a PhD, and if I did do a PhD, it would have been on a totally different topic. So during this second stint back in Aboriginal health, we were fortunate enough to get a significantly sized funding grant to build the state's first Aboriginal men's shed. This shed is still used as a central base by many men in southern Tasmania and is still an achievement I'm really proud of. We're also fortunate enough to get a significant sized grant to undertake 6 to 12 months of nature-based therapy, or what we called at the time on-country men's health trips. So after working with many of these men for nearly 10 years, some had become the healthiest I'd ever seen them. So this led me to a fascination with approaches to Aboriginal health and wellbeing that are developed by Aboriginal people and resulted in the main research project in my PhD. Fortunately, the academic staff at UTAS in the School of Social Sciences were able to see the value in such a topic. While other universities or disciplines may have dismissed it and instead tried to argue we need more biomedical model approaches to health, and Aboriginal people just need to assimilate to the Western health system. So reflecting on this and my time at UTAS, I've been very fortunate and presented with many fantastic opportunities. I participated in exchange programs at Northern Arizona University, spending time on the Navajo Reservation and experiencing what Indigenous peoples with treaties in other parts of the world live like. I've also participated in an exchange program to King's College in London and Oxford University, another experience which is probably at the opposite end of the spectrum to Northern Arizona, visiting some of the most privileged sites of tertiary education in the Western world. I've been fortunate enough to present research in every Australian capital city and internationally, like places such as Toronto, Vancouver, and the Sami University in Norway, which is 600 kilometres above the Arctic Circle. Making the most of opportunities like these have led me to developing lifelong friends, having experiences that would not have otherwise occurred, and most importantly, contributed to me growing as a person. From the ongoing COVID experience and reflecting, I think this is where the real magic of a university degree can be found. Yes, the academic skills you develop are important, but the personal growth, the friendships, and the unique experiences which can only be found by undertaking a tertiary education qualification is what has made my time studying special. By undertaking tertiary education entirely online, we lose a lot of this magic. I've grown from a shy young adult, unsure about being smart enough to study at university, to completing my PhD before the full-time equivalent of 2 years. That's correct, less than 2 years. My supervisor and I had to write a letter to the Graduate Research Office explaining why I'd finished so fast. I've also recently received a $1.25 million grant from the NH and MRC as a co-CI, something that occurred through networking and developing friendships, something that without the additional magic and personal growth of a university degree that I've been talking about would not have been possible. A $1.25 million grant before I graduated from a PhD isn't too bad for a kid that grew up in Housing Commission houses. So to my fellow graduates and their families and friends here with us today, I'd like to finish by congratulating you all once again on your fine achievements. And because we're still in the midst of the COVID pandemic, I thought it would be fitting to end by quoting the Victorian Premier Dan Andrews. It's time to get on the beers. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Well, the applause probably says it all, but very fond of these valedictory addresses personally, and certainly yours is an inspirational story, so thank you very much. We're just about finished here, but there is one little tradition that we've developed which I'm really also very fond of, and that is that Nicholas referred to it in his address, the support and help you've received during your studies, both from people up here, no doubt, and friends and family behind you. I'd like to extend the graduates an opportunity to be upstanding, turn and thank those around you in the normal manner. So let's give them a really good round of applause, eh? Thank you. As you celebrate your graduation today, you join a vibrant global family of over 130,000 graduates. who have taken this precious University of Tasmania experience to all continents around the world and across more than 120 countries. Remember that you're not leaving the university. As alumni of the university, you have joined what is a very special university community. You are now members, all members of our extended university family, and I do hope that you will keep in touch. All graduation ceremonies represent a very special moment. However, after the challenges of the last 18 months, being with you all today could not be more important or heartwarming for me. Excuse me. Enjoy the day with your families and friends. Professor Darian Smith, a great hostess, and I now invite you, your family and guests, to refreshments in the Federation Ballroom, which is on level 1. I ask you all to stand while the procession retires and invite you to follow us.